good pictures here, guys. Andrew, you see this? We're at, yeah, we're at Seacliff. Seacliff, 101 in the Seacliff area. I mean, we're like going through smoke. We're doing a lot to get this shot, and we're not going to be able to stay. Yeah, 101 MPCH. Forget it. Well, let the other stations take it. Because they don't want to break from the rundown. This is Solomar Beach, everybody. Solomar Beach. This is so good. All right, 3 minutes. Awesome. All right. We're going to have this out, you know? I mean, there's no fire there. You know? It's like we went under the, I mean, honestly, like what? There's no flames near homes in the Skirball fire. You know, they complain, like, oh, why aren't you up here? You're doing that. And then we duck under the smoke. We're inhaling bad. Go show where the real fire's burning. I don't know. Yeah, absolutely. Are they holding southbound traffic again? It looks like they might be. Yeah, it looks like no southbound traffic's moving now. Uh, I'll show flames on both sides. They're holding northbound traffic? Okay. I'm starting to lose IFD a little bit. If you climb just a little bit. I don't, right up this hip. On the north side of Solomar. And as I had mentioned earlier, the 101 freeway, I would avoid it. Again, they're holding traffic on the northbound side because we have active flames on both sides of the freeway. Brush burning very close to these homes on Pacific Coast Highway. The street where those firefighters are setting up, that is Pacific Coast Highway 101 directly above it. And you can see the flames, that vegetation burning there just across the street, just across from Pacific Coast Highway. And you can see these beautiful beachfront homes. Active flames on the north side of the 101 freeway as well, right up against the slope there. Firefighters are staging again. They're going to be putting water on this, but the 101, I would avoid it. Again, they're going to be closing this stretch of the 101 periodically. They had both sides open at the top of the hour, but as of right now, CHP holding all northbound lanes. And again, Steve and Megan, this is 5 miles up. This is the northern part of Solomar Beach, 5 miles away from downtown Ventura. That's how much real estate this fire has covered. We'll widen out some more hot spots here as we pan the camera to the right, burning up in the canyon area. Steep terrain. This is a terrain-driven fire, a wind-driven fire, very low fuel moisture here as well. And, of course, this inaccessible landscape makes it very challenging for ground crews to get on scene on these hot spots. And there are hot spots like this all over, from well east of Santa Paula all the way to the shores of Ventura, a distance of about 20 miles. Again, this fire has consumed at least 96,000 acres, over 140 square miles, larger than the entire city of Las Vegas. Unbelievable. Los Padres National Fire, there's Los Padres National Forest, a lot of fire burning up in the backcountry there. The Sespe Condor Preserve along Highway 133, especially on the west side of the 33 up into the Ojai area. We can't get up there. It's too smoky, too dangerous for us to fly up there, but we are getting reports of structures possibly lost up there as well. If you are watching from an evacuation center, and I know you're desperately looking for information perhaps about your property, we watched the entire flank of the fire from the east to the west this morning. There did not appear from our vantage point to be much in the way of active flames anywhere close to Santa Paula, downtown Ventura. It was burning well to the north up in the hills. Good news there, but this hot spot definitely going to have to be paid attention to by firefighters. Back to you in the studio. Okay, we're backing off. We're backing out of here because of the smoke. bar. That's cool. Good. And we're out of the smoke for the most part. No, I know. That's what I told them. Hey, if they question, I mean, my pilot's got the first call.
I do. Do you hear me? A hard 30.
Right. Yeah, I have a couple friends from Russia, one from Moscow, one from St. Petersburg. Yeah, so they talk about differences and similarities. I think people in Cambodia don't speak, and it's just the cultural differences and how this election, this past election, has been very impactful on the relationship between Russia and Ukraine.
No, Russia. We have like Russian Jews, we have Ukrainians, we have Russians. And now because the election, nobody gets along with each other. It's just like all the time like huge problem between
Yeah.
we never had it before. So yeah, always like yeah, we're all Russian speakers, we're all the same. But now it's like
Yeah, even the folks from Serbia and from Latvia, they have their different allegiances, you know.
yeah, exactly. Like Eastern Europe and Slovenia, we always have like other problems.
Ingredients, yeah.
Ingredients, yeah. What about you? I mean, I know you're from here, obviously, right? What about your homeland?
I'm Mexican.
What part of Mexico?
Well, there's my parents are from Mexico, mostly Mexican and Sinaloa. Yeah, southwest Mexico.
My best friend just moved to Mexico
Oh wow.
in August. I'm
She
gonna
must
go.
speak Spanish, right?
Yeah, she speaks Spanish. She learned, but Spanish is easy. She works for lawyers.
Oh wow.
Only so I'm going to visit her soon actually, which is like
Very cool.
very soon. Yeah, and she loves it there. But she writes me about Mexico City, and I want to cry because it reminds me of Moscow. It's just like
Yeah. But you know what I love with Mexico City? How we come there when there's earthquakes. They are just a very, like any other big city, they're very competitive.
right,
But when disaster strikes, they all come together, support
right.
each other. People feeding strangers out in front of their homes, inserting people walking by and taking them in, and housing them. And it's beautiful.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
that's great.
Check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You want it up a little? Okay.
That's right.
Here. Test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Good. So we got the 1100. That's what we can hear before it's.
What do you plug in, man?
Huh?
What do you plug in?
Lots of
Me
coffee.
too. I thought it must be. You must be like.
You know? Doing the TV schedule forever. That's the one that.
That's right, because you were away. I'm from Boston. You were a weather guy.
Yeah, weather guy for 20 years at KCAL.
Really?
Yeah.
Excelente.
And then you shift home.
Okay, I see the signal.
Okay, you should see me standing in front of the podium.
I do.
Okay, here's a mic check, Chris. Mic check. How's that? Mic check.
How are you?
Does that work?
How you doing?
That works, thank you.
Okay, yeah. Great, thanks. Okay, I'm just going to drop.
So just an FYI, everybody, we're going to do this. Press availability, and then we have another one at 11 o'clock. Yeah. And you ready to rock?
Rock.
Morning. Good. We don't know what that is.
I'm glad to be working in
They're like halfway through the bushes.
Sorry. Again, there's a 72-hour now.
Yes, exactly. You just got to keep walking and drinking water.
Yep. Yeah, I took the electrolyte.
Yes.
Push up.
Right.
Hey?
Yeah, just if the media's ready, we're ready.
Okay, is everybody ready? I understand you've probably been waiting on us, so. Good. Hi, good morning. Thank you for being here. My name is Cody Weyerreader. I'm a captain with the Los Angeles Fire Department. I'm the public information officer for the skirball incident. Today we'd like to update the public and the different developments of the fire. Right now, in light of keeping the public informed, we'd like to bring up Councilmember Koretz first. But prior to that, please, if we could, hold all questions to the end, and we'll try and get all your questions answered then. Councilmember?
Well, I'd like to express my gratitude and the gratitude of the city for an amazingly successful effort by the Unified Command, and in particular, Fire Department and LAPD. We had a plan, the Fire Department Command put together at the beginnings of this incident, and it worked very well. Our numbers are still the numbers that we had much earlier. We have 4 homes that were destroyed and 11 homes that were harmed. Nothing has gotten worse. We have had no fatalities and no injuries, and that's partly due to the cooperation of the people in the area, particularly Bel Air. And there are a few people that are still in their homes in the evacuation area. We still think they should come out. That we are not completely through this danger. There's still embers that could move and catch as we still have some wind conditions. But we've been very successful. A lot of cooperation from the population. LAPD has gone out to make sure that everybody knew about the mandatory evacuations, and we still ask that folks stay away from their homes. We're not completely out of the woods yet. We hope to be able to let people back in as soon as possible. And if you're in the adjacent areas, you should still be vigilant and ready to move should anything change. But right now we are very hopeful that things are only getting better in terms of this fire.
Next, I'd like to bring up the incident commander for the Los Angeles Fire Department, Assistant Chief Armando Hogan.
Good morning, all. My name is Armando Hogan, spelled A-R-M-A-N-D-O, last name Hogan, H-O-G-A-N. Honored to be here to share with you as we work with our agency partners. I want to start off by, first of all, thanking the Honorable Councilman and his staff. They were here throughout the night. We continue to stay in the loop so that we can make sure that we're messaging out that information as it relates to what's taking place here at the Skirball incident. Also want to thank LAPD for their assistance, their support. They've got countless resources here so that we're showing that we work together here in the city and we do everything that we can to give you the most outstanding and exemplary service. Lastly, I'd like to thank the state, particularly the Office of Emergency Services. We have resources up and down the state, so we are really in a ready state of preparedness now to go out and address and do what we can do and hopefully bring this to a resounding conclusion. At this particular time, as the councilman mentioned, we're still at about 5% containment on the incident, somewhere near about 475 in terms of acreage that has been lost. What you'll see today is more resources up there, making an aggressive attack, doing everything we can to try to get our arms all the way around it. And what we mean by that as we work towards full containment is we want to get a hose line completely around it. The beauty of it is last night the winds cooperated to a certain degree because, you know, in a wind-driven event, wind is king. I'll say that again. In a wind-driven event, wind is king. So based on that, where we are now with a little bit of the cooperation, and as the councilman mentioned, we're not quite out of the woods yet, but now here at daylight, we're going to do everything we can to hit it hard, hit it fast, and hit it safely. And then we'll look to see by the end of the day what we can do in terms of providing information to let you know the status of the incident.
Next, we'd like to bring up the incident commander for the Los Angeles Police Department, Commander Blake Chow.
Hi, good morning. My name is Blake Chow, B-L-A-K-E-C-H-O-W. I'm the Assistant Commanding Officer, Operations West Bureau. Thank you, Council Member and Chief Hogan. I just wanted to give you kind of a brief update as to what LAPD stands, and we've been in unified command with our partners in the Fire Department and Department of Transportation for the last 30 hours. You know, our mission is to support them in the protection of life and property, especially in the impacted areas. The evacuated areas are still, as it was last night, the 405 to Mandeville Canyon, north to Chalone, and then south to Sunset. That area right now is still closed. I just wanted to reassure the community members that LAPD is maintaining a good presence in those areas, so there's no need to worry about any property loss or that type of thing. We will stay there protecting your property until you're allowed to go back in. That's our mission today. A couple things I wanted to bring up. This is still a red flag. So those that live in the canyons in Hollywood and West LA, we will be enforcing the parking restrictions on the side of the street that is posted. This is really to guarantee the safety of the community. We still have potential for winds and low humidity. So if we have a fire that breaks out there, we're keeping those areas clear so that the fire department can get their apparatus up there and address that. Finally, like we mentioned yesterday, we still have a closed area. There are still some off-ramps that are closed. Some of the traffic apps that are out there that people are using are trying to get people around the blocked traffic, but it's taking them right into the affected area. So I would caution people to, when they're navigating to and from work today, to kind of pay attention to what's going on in that box I talked about and take that into account if they're trying to navigate with those applications. Thank you.
I'd like to take any questions that you may have.
Any information on a cause of the fire yet?
As of right now, the cause of the fire is still under investigation.
Clarification on the closed area, the perimeter of it. Do you have specific boundaries? Because am I confusing the evacuation zones with what you're calling the closed area?
Just to clarify, our evacuation area that we've had set in place as mandatory was Mulholland to the north, and to the south would be Sunset, and then between the 405 and Roscomere. And those are the box that we've set up for the for the mandatory evacuations.
And is that what you're calling the closed area?
To verify, we'll verify with LAPD.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Yes, that's our closed area right now. That area has been evacuated, and we're holding that area with law resources so that we don't have any issues with, with property being broken into and things like that.
How many people do you anticipate or have not evacuated that are still in that should get out?
I'll have to throw that to fire.
I don't have that accurate number, but for the most part, most of the folks were very cooperative. At this point in time, that'll be something that we're going to look into today as we continue and go on through the night. So at this point in time, I don't have the number of individuals, but I would say it's very small indeed. I don't want to speculate on that number because that leads to other speculation. So at this point in time, what I'll do is I'll talk to you off camera and get you that information.
Yeah, I would say the only thing we know for sure is that there are a few, because they've done interviews with the media and we've seen them saying, well, everything's burned around us, so we figure it can't get to us, which is totally wrong. So anyone that's still there, we still implore them to leave, even if it winds up only being a few hours until we've totally got this more under control.
Well, one of the things they face today, and they face throughout this incident, is the fact there's very steep terrain that they're working in, and there's some canyons, there's some draws. So one of the challenges is going to be footing. So we're really mindful about micromanaging the safety aspect for our firefighters up there. We're going to have our airships up today, so that way we've got an aerial view to kind of assist and direct not only where we're trying to put line around the fire, but also just to make sure there's some areas that they may not need to go. Some places we'll just allow that to burn. And then for the most part, we'll work in what we call working in the black, meaning something that's already been burned. And like our biggest thing is safety. But they're going to face that, the potential for winds. As you guys sit here, you can all see there's not a lot of winds here. But when you get up in the canyons a little bit, it might be a little different. So the shifting of the winds, things of that nature. So they're faced with that. But remember, we only go as fast as we can be safe. And even when we had our morning briefing, we stressed the fact that my expectation is our officers out there will micromanage safety today above all else.
What type of winds are you expecting today? How strong?
I'm just looking at everything today, probably anywhere from about 20 to 25 miles an hour. Of course, that can increase because it depends on where we are working in that particular area. But hopefully, if things stay the way they are right now, we'll be very happy with that. But we have our folks there that'll be monitoring the weather for us, and if there's any changes, we'll definitely let everybody know.
What is the situation with the Getty Museum? Is there any threat to the collection?
I'm sorry?
To the Getty Museum.
At the Getty Museum? Situation is the Getty Museum is fine. We always have resources in place for what we consider our values at risk. The Getty has been wonderful in assisting us and allowing us to get resources over there to bed some of our folks down, right? We've had folks that have traveled as far as up north, close to 10 hours away. So they have been instrumental in helping us have a place for them to be able to rest and get prepared for a monumental task of the Herculean effort of doing work today. Yes, the Getty is closed, so we have resources that can go up there. They've got cots, they've got an open area for us, so they have really been helpful in terms of allowing us to bed down folks, even those who aren't familiar with the area. So they have been extremely helpful.
The 5% containment line, where is that, the 5% that's contained?
Uh-huh.
Where is that line, and where are you working from that? You talked about working in the black. Is that
That's the area that we're talking about, that impacted area there. And when we talk about 5%, we're talking overall. We're not talking about just one particular area. So in that impacted area, we're looking, and what we talk about is being able to plug in other lines as we continue to try to get a line all the way around the fire.
Let me ask it a different way. Where's your longest extension where you feel secure about? Where is that?
What I'd like to do is show you guys on the map, because if I just kind of give that to you, it can be somewhat misleading. But I will gladly show you on the map where we're looking at, and we've got that right there in what we call Yankee. We have an Alpha division, a Bravo division, a Yankee division, and Zulu. That Yankee division is right up across the top at the ridge, and that's where we're looking at in those areas where we have challenges based on the steepness of terrain, and then in some of those little gullies that are down below.
That said, what are you most concerned about? Is there a specific area based on which direction this wind is blowing and if it picks up?
Well, I got to be honest, we're concerned about everything, but we're also mindful and cautious about the work that we need to do. We've got a lot of experienced people out there, as I mentioned, that are going only as fast as they can be safe. So our concern is always, Tony, is we want to make sure our people are not only in the right place, but they're working safely. So we're going to have plenty of relief to get people there and get them off that line to get plenty of rest, and we'll continue that aggressive attack. But mind you, safety, safety, safety. You'll hear me preach that throughout this incident.
Is there any estimate on when people will be allowed back into their homes?
Well, I don't want to say it's going to take that long. One of the things that we'll do is we continually reassess, and we're also mindful of the other service that we have to provide here in the city. And we are using our officers, and Commander Chow has just been outstanding and putting resources in place, not only for the security aspect, but also the safety aspect. So what we're going to do today is our folks will get out and fly the line, take a look at it, see what those threats are, look at those challenges. We'll coordinate that with the council office and also through our messaging, and then look to see when we can get folks back. I know you'd like more of a concrete number, and I apologize I can't give you that. But at this point in time, we'll be reassessing, and in further briefings, we'll be able to tell you how much closer we are to getting folks back in. But we really are doing everything we can. We understand that folks are being inconvenienced at this particular point in time. But once again, with that safety concern, we don't want to have them brought back in and then we have to take them back out. So we want to be absolutely sure when we rehouse and repopulate that they can go on and go back to a sense of normalcy.
Are they allowed to, if they need to get clothes, are they allowed to go in?
We're going to talk about that a little bit today. We'll work that out with LAPD because we want to make sure, first of all, it's not going to impact the firefighting operations, and then we'll look to see what we can do to accommodate those folks.
You want to take that?
I don't.
Okay.
You got that?
Yeah. For the on and off ramps, we our representative from CHP is not here right now, but we'll be able to get that information out to you here shortly. As of right now, just the 405 southbound, the Getty off ramp, and I believe the Sunset off ramp is closed, but it's not confirmed at this time. So.
I do have one more question. Councilmember Perez, you pointed out there yesterday, but this goes to all of you, that this wind is going to be a factor. Everyone talked about it. I've gotten a couple of texts from people I know who said, "Where's the wind? You didn't tell the truth." Will you please address that?
Well, I'm not sure we can guarantee the exact speed of the wind as it picks up, but that was our greatest concern overnight. While there were still many active embers and little flare-up spots, that a big wind could carry it. We were very fortunate that everything in our plan worked well and nothing really turned into a hot spot. Nothing jumped the freeway, which is one of our greatest concerns. So everything went as well as it could. Hopefully it continues to go well. We don't wind up with greater wind speed than we're anticipating, and hopefully we're able to keep everything under control long enough to let people in, hopefully today sometime.
Yeah, but looking forward, are you concerned that people are kind of in a false sense of security because the wind did not materialize like was forecast?
Well, I don't think people have a false sense of security when the fire didn't spread. We were using an abundance of caution and the procedures that one would normally engage in this circumstance. So the fact that it didn't spread, I don't think should be a discomfort for anyone. I think this was perfectly well handled by all our resources and by all our residents. So we appreciate that.
If no one has any other questions, we'll have Spanish speaking right after this. Also, we'll have another briefing at 11 o'clock. Thank you.
Same location?
Yeah, right here.
David Ortiz, vocero, Bomberos de Los Ángeles, DAVID-ORTIZ. El incendio anoche tuvo una actividad muy mínima y eso fue debido